Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about Dark and Glam Beauty. Again, I have mentioned this brand on my channel. I picked up a new palette. Well, it's a new palette to me. It's not a new palette to the website. They restocked their Goosebump palettes. So I picked up the Haunted Mask one. I do have a fair amount of stuff from Dark and Glam, and then I have a few things from Creature Cosmetics, which I think is very comparable to this brand, and I have mentioned before which one I like better, but we will talk about that again at the end. And then I'm just going to do some sort of a look. So I'll show the product. I've got some other stuff from the Goosebump line. I'll show the stuff that I have from Dark and Glam. We'll do a look, and then we'll talk about Creature Cosmetics briefly at the end. But yeah, if you want to see the palette, the look that I do, then just keep on watching. Also, if you're new, welcome. Make sure you subscribe, and I think that's all I have. Let's jump into the video. Let's show the palette. Now, I didn't pick this up originally when it launched because I thought it was all pressed glitters, but it's not. There's only one pressed glitter, and then the rest are like special, what I would consider like more special shades from them. So you get 4 mattes. I think it's very perfect for the theme. Now, this palette isn't going to be for everybody. The other Goosebump one that they have is the Say Cheese and Die, which has a red and I think some grays, a little more neutral leaning. So if this is not your color story and you're interested in a palette from them, they definitely have that as an option. I will link them down below, but the only one that is the actual press glitter is this one, and then these are all more like special shimmer shades. So let's swatch those. We have Haunted Mask, Symbol of Love, Steve, which if you've seen the Haunted Mask, that was the boy that was picking on Carly Beth. And then Novelty Shop right there. That probably feels the driest out of the bunch, but it could be the pigments. It's still pretty shiny, not quite as, little bit more of a straight metallic, not quite as like have the micro glitter like these two, but still very pretty. And then you have Chuck, who was the other, Chuck and Steve were the two that were picking on her. Their pressed glitters are pretty emollient. Like you could probably go in without a glitter glue. I do just out of habit, but well, the glitter itself does feel a little bit dry. I was able to stick that down without a glitter glue. So there is that. Okay, let me clean this up, and we will take a quick look at the other palettes from them that I have. Again, my hands are not completely clean. Talked about this in my Ipsy box charm video. I don't like to stick my hands in the mats unless they're like really clean and dry, because you can cause hard panning, so just be careful. So there's the featured palette. I do have a glitter. I have 2 glitters. I have the Haunted Mask glitter and one of the Coraline. One from the Coraline collection. I think these, I don't know if these are technically eye safe, but you can use them around the eye, on the face, and I'm spilling. Let's try and get some of it back in the container. It's pretty chunky, so I would be careful on the eyelid, but you could do it around inner corner, cheekbone, that kind of a thing. And then the one from the Haunted Mask is just that chunkier kind of lime green. I got these in a mystery box with the Creepshow palette, so it was definitely over the value. You get at least the value that you pay. So I got the $20 one. I don't know, she doesn't do those all the time, but I feel like with the glitters I was a little bit over. But you're guaranteed to at least get the $20 value. But this is, it's Creepshow. Again, it has a pressed glitter. down in here, and then like this a little bit darker of a metallic, like a bronzy. The shimmers in here are more of a standard like metallic, and then the black. The black that's in here I think is technically a sequence shade. It's a little bit on the drier side, but it does have some pigment to it. I have used this palette, so there are many a palette in my collection that I haven't used, but I have used this palette, and the black works really well in the outer corner. I didn't have any issues with it. But I don't know if that was supposed to be like I said, I use it as more of a sequence shade, like a matte with shimmer, because it's not as metallic as the gold and the bronze. But I do like this palette better than the Creature Cosmetics Ripped from the 90s. I think the shimmers, while these ones are not what I would consider their special shimmers, are better than the shimmers that are in the Creature Cosmetics palette. And then the other eyeshadow palette I have is the Conjuring Universe palette. They did a whole Conjuring collection, and this has two duochromes in it. So you have, where is it? This white one and this blue one. And then you have the more like metallic shimmers, La Llorona and Rosary, and then Malthus is like a gray. Those are more like standard metallics. And then the mattes, basic mattes, they are pigmented. They work really well. And then I have two face palettes from them. I have the Annabelle Blush palette, which is 3 blushes and a highlighter. And then the Conjuring is a cream face palette. So those were all part of the Conjuring collection they did. All really good. I've used them all. Okay, let me mention Creature Cosmetics, and then I'll put some like base makeup on, and then we'll do a basic eye look. So for Creature Cosmetics, I'm going to set these sleeves aside and I'll keep them and put them in a cabinet. I have a little duo. It's the Freaky Frankie. They did a Monster Baby collection, and I do think the shimmers in these little duos are better than the shimmers in their eyeshadow palette. So this is Monster, which is right there. And then I'll swatch a shimmer that's in an eyeshadow palette here in just a second. So let's see. I do think where they shine are their face palettes. I got this in a Frankenstein bundle. I don't know what they sell these for. It's like $10 or $15. Their stuff's a little more pricey. I should preface by like, this was a $15 palette. This was like a $35 palette. So keep that in mind. Their face palettes, I think, are a little bit more reasonable. Like this was $25. This was part of the Trick or Treat collection. So you've got Sam in both forms. And then you've got 2 blushes and 2 like contour and bronzer shades. And this is really good. I have used this. I'll probably use a little bit of this over the cream just to set. And then you have Randy's Rules, the Surviving a Horror Movie Face and Sculpt palette. And again, I think this is pretty good. I've used this on camera. I don't have an issue with this. And again, this was like $25. Again, a little bit cheaper. And I will preface by saying nothing in the Conjuring set was over $23. So their price point is a little bit lower. And again, I think their formula is better. So then you have the Ripped from the 90s. I went back and forth, excuse me, between this and the 80s palette, and I liked the color story better, but again, their shimmer formula to me is just okay. They're just basic, what I would consider old school metallics. And then there is a pressed glitter, which again, their pressed glitters are fine. They're pretty emollient. Again, you could probably get away with not using a glitter glue, but I think the shimmers that Dark and Glam does are better. And their palettes tend to be cheaper. This was one of their cheaper palettes. Like the palette from the Trick or Treat collection runs about $50, which to have just basic metallics to me is expensive for what it is. If you're not going to include super special shades, I think that palette probably has the best shimmers from what I've seen that the brand offers, but I overall think Dark and Glam is a better value for their money. But if you are going to get something from Creature Cosmetics, I recommend their face stuff more than their eyeshadow. That's just, again, personal preference. And then I do have 3 lipsticks from Creature Cosmetics. I do like these. I try to get these on sale just because they have more abnormal colors and they dry down matte. So while they are darker and a little more extreme, they're not going to move. So yeah, let me put some base makeup on and we'll do a simple. So I did my base. I have the cream contour. I used the light shade and a little bit of this, and then I set it. I had my It Cosmetics beauty book from a couple of years ago, so I just used the powder bronzer that's in here in Beach. And then this is just the translucent Bye Bye Pore powder. On my eyes, my caboodle with some of my eye stuff is over there. So I just used a little bit of my ABH concealer, which is what's under my eyes, to prime my lids. I'm not going to use a glitter glue today. We'll see how this works without it. And then for my blush, I use the hot pink shade in Possessed Doll, just right here. And then I actually used one of the shimmers, the Bride, this white. It's got a pink flip, so I use that as a highlight kind of up here and then in here. It's got a little bit of like micro shimmer, but I think because like this palette is very 80s-esque to me, I think it works. And then I'm going to try out some of my new brushes that I got in my Ipsy and Ice Cream Beauty box. These are, the purple ones are Game Beauty brushes. So I'm going to try a couple of those just because they're clean and I have them out. I'm going to get one of my color switches opened here. This isn't going to be a tutorial. If you want a more in-depth tutorial on this palette, let me know, but I just want to try it. So I figured we could do it together. I think I'm going to go in with Goosebumps. Purple and green are opposite, like on the color wheel, so they look nice together, but you have to be careful because green and purple don't. You can end up with like a brown muddy shade. So just be careful when you're combining them. So I'm going to go in with Goosebumps and then blend that out with a little bit of this, and then I'm going to try and stick the blue or the purple. The purple is Carly Beth and the blue one is Sabrina. So I'm going to try and stick one of those in the outer corner. Probably the blue. I think the blue will probably work in there better, and then do some of the purple maybe on the lower lash line or one of the purple shimmers with that. We'll see how it goes. Okay. This looks very pretty. Is this the brightest lime green I've ever used? Probably not, but I don't think it's bad either because these neon-y shades can be hard to formulate. I think it's pretty pigmented. It would also probably benefit, I do have a white eye base that would probably make it look even brighter. Again, right now I just have like a flesh tone color. So if you have a white base, it would probably look even brighter. But I think even just with this is good. So not everybody wants super bright neon shadow. Okay, I'm going to take maybe the blending brush in Viewers Beware, which is the more yellow. Let's been a while since I put makeup on. I was really sick over Christmas. I had really bad, well, I had the really bad flu that was going around, and then mine turned into pneumonia. So needless to say, I have not worn makeup in several weeks. So I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm gonna do, just because I like lime green and purple together, and then maybe do the pink on the lower lash line. I'm just going to be very careful about putting this out in the outer corner. Again, because you can get a muddying happening. It's working pretty well with this brush that's a little bit flatter, and then just making sure that it doesn't look like there's just a line there. I'm trying to tap it a little bit. Okay, I don't think that looks bad. So let's see. Add a little bit more of this yellow. Again, I do think this would benefit from the white base, but this, let's do the Haunted Mask shade. It's very, very glittery, and it's got a little bit of a shift. And then we'll put a little bit of Symbol of Love, which is a little bit more of a purpley, just to kind of go into that purple. I think that's pretty. There's probably other looks I could do, but again, I haven't worn makeup in a while, and I just wanted to try this out, and then we'll go back in with the purple. I think that's pretty. I don't dislike it. And for the lower lash, I think I'll do Novelty Shop, which is the hot pink, like purpley fuchsia metallic. So let's go in with this little flatter brush, and then I might do a little bit of the matte purple underneath. Hopefully everybody had a good New Year's. Like I said, I was a little bit better over New Year's, but we didn't do much. We just stayed home. Take a little bit of the purple underneath. This gives me very condensed, like Urban Decay Electric palette vibes. Like it's more curated color story. See if I can get some of that shimmer down in the corner with this little bitty brush from Game Beauty. Okay, and then for the inner corner, I'm going to use the matte neon yellow. Thought about using this shade from the what is it, the Conjuring palette that I used as the highlight, but I think this will work. So I'll definitely have to play around with this some more, but there's the basic look. I'm not going to put mascara or anything on just because I'm probably going to take this off and need to take a shower, but I like it. Again, I think it would benefit from a white base, but I don't think the pigmentation is bad. I'm curious, like if I went in with the purple, I think you could probably get away with the purple and a little bit of this shade. Obviously the blue with these would blend out better because blue and yellow is going to make green, but definitely some different color combinations. Again, the glitter is really pretty. I'm not going to put the glitter on today, but I like this. I like their formula. I am glad to have another palette. Again, I have shades in here that I could also use with it. And then the Conjuring, whoops, knocking you guys around. The Conjuring Universe palette has a bunch of different shades, and we've got another pink that would work. There's a purple in here, an army green. So some of these I think you could use with the Goosebumps too, to kind of amp it up a little bit, because 4 neon shades can be difficult for people to come up with looks. And I'm somebody, you could use this with any brand you wanted to. If I have other palettes from the same brand, I like to kind of, because you're dealing with the same formula, you should be. And then obviously these blushes could be used in the crease also. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought. And then have you tried Dark and Glam? Have you tried Creature Cosmetics? Like I said, I like Creature Cosmetics face palettes better than I like their eyeshadow. I think they're a better deal, and then the formula is good. But yeah, you'll have to just let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you thought of the finished look. And yeah, I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in another video. Bye, everybody.